In this episode, we'll continue working on the Ford 1900, where I will install some lights, do some mechanical work as I prep the tractor to take into the country on its first ever major journey. So stay tuned. Let's dive in, and here I'm starting off with making a bracket for the headlights. I am using two used headlights as they were given to me by my uncle years ago, and I had them in storage, so I'll just use them instead of buying new lights. Tucked it in place. Can knock it out if I need to knock it out, if I need to make any adjustments. So I'll go ahead and bolt up the lights and we'll see how it looking. Once it all good, I'll weld off. Now the tractor will have lights. When I bought the tractor, I didn't have any lights. The grill was missing. I put in these bars here for the front here from an old basket trolley. I just cut out that wire meshing from that and made it adapted to fit the front here because it just had a big open space. The reason why I'm trying to fabricate a bracket to make these lights work is because I have these lights laying around. If I have to go look for lights for the tractor, I'll have to go buy lights. So it's always better to use what you have because it's free basically versus than going to buy. So look like it will work. One is will be slightly higher than the other because this light has our original bracket in it. This light is a piece of metal I bent back to make the bracket. I just bent a piece of flat steel and made a bracket because I guess when I got these lights I didn't have a bracket on it because they were used. Tractor now has two lights on it. Fine, is looking good. It's a bit awkward because it is protruding from the bonnet. Not something you see all the time. The lights are recessed in the bonnet. If I wanted to recess into the bonnet, I will have to remove the Ford grill, and I want to keep the logo there because I could have made something different for the front, but I want to keep the original grill on it at least. Since I bought this tractor, it never had a bracket to hold in the alternator, just had this block of wood tension in the belt. So now came to look to make a bracket, try to tension the belt, and realize the water pump is bad and it is dripping water. Let's see how it is rocking and water is leaking. So not sure where to get a pump for Ford 1900. So now I have to go remove the radiator and see if I can take out this pump. gosh, there's a bolt left inside. Now seeing it. Let's hope nothing is damaged. Yeah, I'll do it. And shaft. Today back on the 1900. Remove the 3-point hydraulic cylinder here. So when I removed it, I took out the piston and went to hydraulic shop. They sold me a lip seal on the piston. I just chopped it up so that so I got a lip seal on the piston. This piston didn't have any seal when I took it out. Probably years of use, it just deteriorated. So I'm gonna try and clean up this rust on the outside of the sleeve and reinstall it. Clean up the face here, reinstall it. I'll be using back the O-rings right now because I have a O-ring kit on order. So I'll change this. If it's leaking, I'll take it back out, change this O-ring. So soon I should be getting that O-ring kit. This big O-ring is just really for sealing up the housing. There's not really any pressure. This O-ring don't see any pressure. There's that just basically gearbox atmospheric pressure, and if the gearbox is hot, it blows up. It will just to seal the gearbox from moisture going in and oil coming out. This is the pressure, the only O-ring that will be seeing pressure. So if I have any leaks, it will be this O-ring. So that being said, I'll clean up the sleeve here. May just give it a light spray of some sort of paint so it don't get the corrosion build up as is. Also for today, the plan is to make a battery stand for the tractor. Came up with a solution for this alternator bracket. Was going to drill out this hole and retap it, but where the stud is broken, and took this off our engine house scrapping. So I was gonna make a bracket to work here. So I think the easiest decision what I came up with was to just make a bracket here and put on this bracket to tension the belt. Just weld 2 pieces of angled steel, drill it, but I went this side will be a floating pin, so the bracket will be able to shake because this bar do move when the bucket is in operation, but very slightly. So I'll just leave this pin floating on the side, and the side will be secure to the alternator, so the bracket will be able to rock just enough to yield and don't probably put strain on the alternator itself. Should be getting the water pump soon, so remove the water pump. The water pump was leaking terrible, and so I remove it. I ordered a cheaper one from Amazon. It should be here soon, probably within the next couple of days. We have that. So alternator bracket hopefully today, battery stand hopefully today. Oh, I made the stand for the lights here mounted in front. I'm gonna make on the roll bar to the back. I wanna put 2 pieces of steel here just among some lights underneath, facing rear. So I'll have work lights to the back, but I'll mount them as close as possible here and here, so that when the driver is sitting, if the studs do come through, it don't hit their hand, as well as enough so it give the light some angle coming out here that the fender, I was thinking if I put it here and it come out, the fender may block some of the light and cast a shadow. So my thinking right now is just to put the 2 lights or 1 light just in the back, because I may just end up just putting 1 light in the back and put it in the center here so that it will cast light far enough. what is your plan for today? So make a bracket here, alternator bracket, install the sleeve, the 3-point hydraulic cylinder and piston, alternator bracket, battery stand. So I have a list there that sort of faded out. Alternator bracket, rear light bracket, air breather. Oh, also need to make our air breather because this air breather had a small cap on it, but this cap is to let water in the oil bath air filter system. And once the tractor was parked for a couple months, like say 4 months in the rainy season, this had a small hat on it where it broke out, but I had the tractor parked outside. About 4 months in rainy season, I went to start it and tied to lock. Water filled in this, filled the inlet tubing, filled the number 2 cylinder, and hydrolock it, bend the connecting rod. I haven't replaced the connecting rod as it. So when I found the problem, I took out the injectors, spin over the motor, the engine. When I got it spinning, reassemble the injectors and everything. And number 2 cylinder was misfiring. It wasn't firing at all on number 2 cylinder. So what I did was I I scrapped the engine, took off the head, took out the bottom end, took out the rods. So number 2 connecting rods was severely bent where it wasn't making compression. I looked around for some parts locally, couldn't find any connecting rods for this. Locally I can't find any parts of the tractor at all. There was the dealership sold these tractors back in the 1980s, and they said, when I went to them, they said these tractors were like sold 40 years ago and they don't stock parts for them again because they're too old. They only stock for newer tractors and make it very difficult to get parts. I went on Amazon, not Amazon, on the internet, look for connecting rods, but it's probably like roughly a used connecting rod is roughly 150 US when I was looking around, and time that shipped to Trinidad it will cost way too much. I could buy a whole engine and probably make an adapter plate and change all this for that price for that one connecting rod. So what I did was took out this connecting rod. I'll put in some pictures. I should have some pictures when I did the job. Like I did it like about 2 years ago. So I took out the connecting rod, put it on my bearing press, try to straighten it back as best as possible, and it did not come back original length. It was a bit shorter, so there is lower compression in the cylinder. Now I have a compression tester, so I can measure to see what is like the average compression. I know it's not matching because when the tractor is cool, the number 2 cylinder will miss a bit until the engine get hot up to temperature, and it not really up to temperature. When the engine runs for like about 10 seconds, it will start a fire off a number 2 cylinder, and then all 3 cylinders will be firing. So with that properly, so hopefully we have our sealant piston now. So previously the issue we was having was if I left the 3-point, the piston the 3-point will be continuously dropping, and I had to drive the tractor around with the 3-point lever up partially. So with it up partially, the hydraulics always running. Well, the hydraulics will all be sending pressure to here and it will be leaking through the piston. And sometimes when the hydraulics is leaking here, I lose some sort of power on the bucket lift. So that is the reason why I wanted to fix it, is because the bucket actually starts to suffer sometimes with running the 3-point up, hydraulics pumping to the 3-point, hydraulics pumping to the front. So I changed it out. Main reason because that. Also I like to have the lock off. I always hope the lock off is sealing. Probably may need to take out the seal at the So while install, as soon as I completed installing the sleeve, got a call from and said the water pump is on the way. Bought this off of Amazon. We'll check it to see if all is good with it. If it's the what we're looking for. Yeah, the pump looks almost same, slightly different. The pulley area is slightly different. Ball look a little different, and here's the old pump. So this old pump, the shaft is rocking and I was looking to the whip hole in the bottom here. So I tried to disassemble it, and while pressing the impeller, following the manual and pressing the impeller, trying to take it off, I broke the housing. So, and this is the pulley from the old one, slightly different to the new one. Oh, the flange look like it may be bigger, and so I'll put it up in a while and see if it works. So here I just have the alternator bracket mock-up of how it will look. So this is my idea of what I will do to make a tensioner. So here we are the new water pump on, complete the alternator bracket. This well up there a bit. It was a bit difficult to weld because couldn't get proper access to it in. So alternator bracket on. Yeah, I have the battery stand made over. I used a piece of roofing material and just tacked it on because it's very thin. Tacked it onto the base and installed. Made some J hooks with one of these soft, like grade 2 bolts from the hardware on a piece of quarter steel, bent a hook on either side, and just rest the battery in place. And it's fairly firm, much better than what it was before. So now is to move on to installing the fan and radiator. Once that is completed, we will probably go for a start. Hopefully the place doesn't get dark and run out of daylight. adjust the tappets and see if the engine noise eases up some. And first starting probably about 2 months, as the tractor was just parked poorly while I was doing the works on it and waiting for parts. So I'll see how it goes, how it runs. After adjusting tappets in this, I'll leave it a warm up and see if it quiets down a little bit, but I know the tappets need to adjust. Hopefully that will take out a lot of the engine noise. No put any battery in tractor, so we're gonna try and see if we can get a start on it as we adjust the tappets. I was using this battery just now to start another engine, so it looked like it got drained down. I'll try and put the charger on it and boost it up a bit and see if we can get the tractor started. Yeah, I had the battery on charge for about half hour, so let's see if we can get a start on this tractor. So the Tappit adjustment is significantly quieter. The engine was working very hard before, so it's quiet down a lot. So with this tractor, I get some oil smoke coming out. But I think that is like from the valve seals. So here's the headlights. I put on 2 headlights. So we have lights in front. There's dual beam lights. So if we drop the beam switches, so the beam switches. So with the LEDs lights are put to the back. Here's the original hazard light switch for the tractor. I made a switch for it because the handle was broken. If I do turn it on and I come to the back of the tractor, One will light proper, but the other will light very, very dim. And if I switch off the tractor, and I come to the back here, it will light bright. So I don't know what is the issue, but once the tractor is running, the lights very dim. The top one, don't know what is that issue, but I don't know if I'll put any more time into it right now, because I'm trying to get this tractor ready by next 3 days to go into the country. So I just need to fabricate a hat for the air breather as well as a seal here, so that water won't go into the intake. Let's see what else I have on my list. So this is the list of stuff I have outstanding. Front bar spacers, I need to make a spacer for everything. Wheel spacers, I need to make a spacer for the wheel winch rebolted. Grill to install. Air breather, we just spoke about that. The lights, make all that good for the while. Oil filter, needs to change the oil filter, but if I don't get you to go in the parts list beforehand, I'll just change it after I come back from the country. Check all oil, completed the hook, and the other thing on the list was painting. So I installed a hook up front here. This was a hook I removed from a vehicle I was scrapping, so could use the bucket to lift. Could just hook a sling on the bucket now and use it for lifting. Before it was very difficult to lift anything because they didn't have any hook on it. I just put a piece of 3-inch angle, come back with a piece of 5/16 flat on top and drill it, bolt it on. So this is a hook from a FJ40 Land Cruiser. I had that from a scrap vehicle, so install that there. Lights completed. The front spacers, what I need to do is just have a piece of pipe between here, so when I torque down on these bolts, it won't compress in the metal and you know, deform it. I think that may be most of the outstanding activities, so hopefully by tomorrow I'll get everything completed on this. I don't really think I'll do much again today, just feeling like today being Sunday, just to relax. So the bonnet back one, it's looking like a tractor again, so let's see how the headlights will fit with the bonnet and the grill on. I never had the grill on a tractor for the longest while. When I bought it, I just got this frame, but I made this little wire mesh pattern out of a old basket. I cut a basket and took it out like one of those old grocery baskets. So the lights inside, let's see, it's projecting a bit out of the hood, but you know, for the price of these lights, I had it in storage for a number of years. It was given to me by my uncle, and just had it back up. I used to have it on my van, and then I took it off and I bought new fogs and decided I'll use them on the tractor because I didn't want to go buy some lights. Bought some LEDs and getting some problems with it to get running properly, but I must say the tractor is looking a lot better. We have the roll bar in the back. That was a new addition. New tires, bigger tires than before, 14.924. We have the lights welded on the roll bars, but as I said, when we're running, getting some issues with the lights lighting correctly, so I have to put some wire loom all on these wires, and need to get some bolts for here. because I borrow these two bolts. This is for the top link to put onto the bracket I made here for the roll bar. Why this is not going all the way down? I'll have to check and see why this is did not go all the way down. This is the new air breather design. I need to get a pipe collar to couple it up here, but to prevent water from filling up in the intake, because the engine has hydrolock previously from when water went down the intake, because the oil bath system injector was parked like for 2-3 months during the rainy season, wet season here, and the tractor was parked for 2-3 months in the rain, and I did not check the oil bath system. I went to start it, and this oil bath was filled with water, went over into the intake here, and filled the number 2 cylinder full with water. So I made this little setup. Here is a piece of PVC. It is a 3-inch 2-3 reducer, and I cut a piece of 2-inch PVC galvanized pipe, steel pipe, put it inside the reducer, and I'll have threads here up top so the bonnet can open like this. This entire thing is silicone here, is pressed in to the oil bath system, air cleaner, and with this pressed, I just tack welded on both sides, fill it with silicone, put on the spacer here, so if water runs down here, it will just fall here and then fall off to the side. It will not be going inside and come back to the top. So and show. So this will be the top. I will get a pipe collar, couple, so that I can couple here together, and then get a short nipple with another elbow facing downwards, so in the rain we won't have to worry about water going into the breather. But for the while I don't have those parts, so I will just, when the bonnet is closed, I will just screw on this here. With the screw on here, I'll keep it facing back. We have a much lower profile here, and you know, for we carrying this tractor in the country, so we don't want any vines hooking it and tearing out anything, so I may leave it like this till I go to the hardware and buy some couplings to make it up, one pipe collar and another elbow. But for this, meanwhile, I will have to just cover it with probably a bucket, and water should not be going on the intake. Also, I need to put a screen here, so debris won't just be going straight into the intake, like leaves and so forth. Other than that, most of the list is completed on the tractor in order for us to carry it up into the country. So with the bonnet on, forward wheel in on with the tractor, and this front bar close up. That will be the tractor with headlights, air breather completed. I just need to bolt back up these wheels. I was initially leaving the track wider, but I may switch back the rims around so that I'll narrow back the track about 4 inches. That's just because I need to make some wheel spacers. We need to make some spacers in order to work the wheel winch back up here, because it's touching here on the rim, and you need to make some 2-inch spacers. I don't have time for that right now, so I'll just keep the track of the tractor narrow by 4 inches, narrow by 4 inches, and with that I'll be able to just bolt back on the wheel winch. But in order to bolt it on, I'll just need to take off this left side there and carry it across the right side, and the right side back to the side, and I'll narrow the track by the track width of the tractor about 4 inches. This is the rear bar. I need to tighten up here and grease all the moving parts in it, but we connected the 3-point, and no issues with the bar we built, no issues there. So still need to get 2 bolts to put in here, but everything will happen eventually. May not be able to get it done right away, but everything will happen eventually. Switch around the tires, bolt back on the wheel winches on both sides. Now the tractor where the center line here was out 2 inches, now it's back in 2 inches on either side, so we narrow the track by 4 inches in total. Hopefully when we come back home from the trip, I will flip back the rims around and then make some adapters to push the wheel spacers out. And another issue I'm having is when these valve stems are out a bit, so I'm afraid they may want to break out. Look at this one. I don't know. For the original rim, the valve stem was much shorter and closer. The original tube, the one, because so I changed all the tubes when I put the bigger tires. So I don't know if it's the type tube I got, but I'm a bit worried about that. Yeah, I've loaded the Ford 1900 on the small Nissan dump truck. I felt that I reached a state where I completed most of the activities on the tractor, and it's about time we take it out to the country so that we could use it. I have a small piece of land in the country where we take in the tractor to do some brush cutting and so forth. So stay tuned. In the next episode, I will try my best to document the journey. There were a lot of failures on the tractor, but we stuck with it and we was able to get through. However, we have some more repairs on the tractor. Huh?